I remember when my family doctor walked into the room, I could not stop staring at her. No joke, from the lab coat to her cherries to her amazing peach, I could not stop staring. And that's when I realized I had a crush on my family doctor. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba, and welcome back to a super embarrassing story that I did not want to tell because, well, to be honest, this was one I was planning to keep personal and quiet about. But let's be real here, I've told a lot of embarrassing stories on this channel to the point where I don't even care anymore. But this story all takes place back when I was in grade 9, and basically back when I was in grade 9, I was a pretty dumb kid. Not gonna lie, since I was hitting puberty and, well, I guess, you know, becoming a man, my mind was not in the most best of places. And I remember one time when I was back in high school, I was walking home from school, and as I was walking home, I ended up going to my driveway and I saw my parents getting ready to leave. And before anyone says anything, no, they weren't going on a family trip, because I remember my mom walks up to me and says, Bubba, drop your backpack at home. We're going out. What? Why? Where are we going? Oh, Bubba, it's your checkup. Wait, what? Yeah, you're gonna go see the family doctor. I'm not feeling sick, so I don't really need to go. No, but Bubba, you have to go. It's your checkup. Mom, I got a lot of schoolwork, and honestly, I don't want to go. Are you sure, Bubba? Yeah, it's not really my thing. I don't want to go. I remember when I think back on it, saying that going to a doctor wasn't my thing sounded really dumb. But I'm gonna be honest here, I just didn't want to go to my family doctor at the time. Because back then, my family doctor was the most annoying person on the planet. No joke, he would always make fun of me, and he would always laugh at me every time he would do a checkup on me. If anything, he was more of a major bully. But I remember as my family went to the doctor, I ended up staying home playing Call of Duty. And then that's when I ended up getting a text message on my phone. It was my mom sending me an image, and I was so confused on why she sent me a photo. But when I opened it, I realized she sent me a photo of a really attractive woman in a lab coat. When I saw this, I was super confused, and I asked, Mom, who is that? Bubba, you should have been here. We have a new family doctor, and you have to meet her. I have to? Yes, Bubba, you have to meet her. So you're going to do your checkup tomorrow, okay? Okay, sure. Now, this photo that my mom sent me wasn't that good of a photo, if I'm being honest with you. The photo was literally of her standing with her back facing my mom's camera. So I didn't actually get a good look at what she looked like. But from what I saw, she was a blonde-haired woman, and she had a nice physique, even with the lab coat on, which is really weird and rare. But going on, I remember the next day, I could not stop thinking about going to the doctor. And since it was a Saturday, honestly, since I didn't have school, it was all I could really think about, without any distractions coming my way. And as the day continued on, I remember my mom ended up coming into my room finally and saying, Bubba, clean up your room. We have to go soon to the doctor. Okay, Mom. Yep. Just cleaning up right now. I remember I ended up cleaning up all my things. And finally, when I finished cleaning, I ended up basically getting my Nintendo DS and bringing it to the car. And as we were on the way there, I remember asking my parents, Mom, Dad, what did the family doctor look like? Oh, Bubba, she's a very nice lady. You'll like her a lot. I'm telling you. Okay. I mean, I hope so, is what I said. And I remember when we finally got there after 30 minutes of driving to my family doctor, which I know is crazy, but at the same time, this was only the family doctor that we would see like maybe once a month, if anything. But as I walked into the doctor's office, I remember I sat down and I started to get nervous. I don't know what it is about me, but I naturally hate going to the doctors. Like, no joke, still to this day, I refuse to go to the doctor unless I am actually dying. But I remember as I'm sitting there waiting, my mom looks at me and says, Bubba, don't worry. She's a very nice lady. You'll like her a lot. And that's when my doctor walked in. My family doctor ends up walking in, and that's when she said, Hi, nice to meet you. You must be Bubba. And no joke, as her lips were moving, I just could not stop staring at her amazing blue eyes. Oh my God. Her cherries to her physique to literally everything about her was just too perfect to think that this girl was my doctor. I remember I looked at her up and down, checking her out, and she definitely noticed to the point where she said, Oh, have you ever looked at my father like that? Wait, what is what I said? And I remember my mom looks at me and she's like, What did he do? Is there something wrong with his eyes? Oh, no, he's all right. Don't worry, ma'am. Can both of you parents leave the room? I need to talk to your son real quick. Oh, okay. Yeah. As my mom stands up, totally confused on why she was leaving the room. And I remember when my parents left the room, I could not stop staring at this doctor. Like, to be honest, I even forgot they left the room. And that's when my doctor says to me, Okay, Bubba, it's been a while since you've had a checkup, right? Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I'm a pretty healthy guy, to be honest with you, is what I said to her, trying to play it as cool as possible. But I remember my doctor just ends up giggling and she says, Okay, I'm gonna check your heart. She ends up putting that like really cold like heart detector pumper thermostat thingy on my chest. I don't really know what it's called, a stethoscope. I can't say words like that, but you guys know what I mean. And she basically hears my heartbeat. And when her hand was basically close to my chest, I'm not gonna lie, I was getting excited. No, not that kind of excited yet, because I remember my doctor ended up doing something really weird where she ended up pulling out a popsicle stick and she wanted me to basically stick my tongue out and go, so she could check my throat. But me, I hated doing this ever since I was young, and still to this day, I hate doing it because I'm gonna be honest here, the only thing I like going down my throat is food, okay? not anything else. So I remember I ended up telling her, oh, like, my throat's fine. Like, can we not do this one? Oh, Bubba, it's easy. Here, look, I'll show you. And she ends up opening her mouth, sticking her tongue out and going, eh. And no joke, I could not stop staring at her doing it. If anything, it got me kind of excited. So excited to the point where I knew I definitely had a crush on my family doctor, because the last part of the checkup was the final part. And I'm gonna be honest, this was probably the most embarrassing thing, where I remember my doctor ends up telling me to lay down on the table, and that's what I did. I laid down, and my doctor tells me, okay, Bubba, can you take off your pants for me real quick? I need to check down there. Wait, what? You do? Yeah. Has my dad not done this before? I kept getting confused on why she kept saying her dad, but then I remember I ended up taking off my pants, and my eggplant was hanging out, and my doctor just looks at it and ends up touching it once just to lift it, and that's when it happened. I got bricked right in front of my family doctor that was super hot, attractive female. Like, honestly, I'm gonna say this right now, no one can blame me for this, okay? Like, no joke, okay? I was in grade 9, she was hot, and like, no one can find me weird for saying this as well, okay? I think we've all almost been through this. Unless you have an ugly family doctor, then lucky you. But I remember it was so awkward, because I remember as I got bricked, my doctor looks at me and says, Bubba, are you all right? And that's when I stood up. I pulled up my pants, and no joke, the only thing I did was ran out of there. I ran out of there so fast to the point where I actually ended up running out of the doctor's office and out of the whole building and going straight to my parents' vehicle. I remember my mom goes back into the doctor's office saying, what happened? What did you do? And my doctor was just confused going, I don't really know. Trying to make sense of everything that just happened. But I remember my parents ended up coming back to the vehicle, and as I was sitting in there totally embarrassed, I just ended up looking at my DS and just playing my game, trying to pretend nothing happened. My parents kept asking me what happened in there, but I didn't say a word until I remember the next day ended up finally coming, and it was a Sunday. And my parents wanted me to go to church with them, but to be honest, after the sins I caused, no thank you. And I remember as I'm sitting in my room, just totally confused, I ended up hearing the door open. Now, I thought it was my parents coming home from church after like 2 hours of being gone. But then I realized that it was my parents, but also another person. And the voice I heard was one I recognized right away, because it was my family doctor. Since when was she doing in-house visits? I have no idea. But I remember my family doctor ended up asking, oh, so I was wondering, where's Bubba? Because I just want to finish the checkup with him. Oh, yeah, no, he's upstairs. Just, make him relax. Maybe he's just too scared. I remember my doctor ends up coming up the stairs, and I start panicking. But I ended up clearing my action figures away from my shelf, and I ended up putting it under my bed and sitting on my bed as if I was cool. And as I was sitting on my bed, my doctor comes in saying, hey, Bubba, can I come in? Yeah, you can. What's up? Hey, so I was just wondering, can we finish our final checkup real quick? Yeah, sure. Do you want me to lay down and take off my pants? Oh, no, you don't have to do that. Oh, okay. Yeah, if I don't have to, it's cool, is what I told her. And then that's when my doctor said the weirdest thing afterwards, where she said, I mean, if you want to, if I want to, is what I asked her. And well, one thing led to another. I remember me and her got really close in my bed, and we ended up doing the Devil's Tango. And then afterwards, I remember after we finished doing the Devil's Tango, she turns over to me and says, oh, I bet my dad never gave you this kind of treatment. And that's when I looked at her and said, why do you keep talking about your dad? Oh, because he was your original family doctor. Wait, what? And that's when I put 2 and 2 together, that I had a crush on my family doctor that was my old family doctor's daughter, which made this whole story super more confusing. I'm not gonna lie to you, but honestly, if you guys watch till the end and follow for more embarrassing stories just like this one, peace out, guys. All right, what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba, and welcome back to another insane story. So this story takes place back when I was in high school, and funny enough, I'm not gonna lie, one of the benefits of me that I love about myself so much, and this is gonna sound really weird, but I love how I always had straight teeth. If you guys don't know, I have never had braces ever in my life, which I am very thankful for, because I never liked braces, nor did I ever want braces, but everyone else in my family had to get braces except me and my dad. So I guess I got my dad's good genes. Anyways, going on with the story, I remember one time my mom ended up coming to my door when it was like 7 a.m. in the morning saying, Bubba, make sure tomorrow you know that you have to go see the dentist. And me, I don't like the dentist. I am not a fan of going to the dentist, nor do I ever like it in general, because who in the world would want someone shoving something in your mouth? Like, I don't know. I just don't like it. And also, I really don't like their bubblegum flavor. Like, for me, it just tastes like really gross medicine. Anyways, going on with the story, I remember basically when she told me that, I told her, Mom, I really don't want to go. Like, my teeth are fine. They're straight, and I never had an issue ever. And then she told me, Bubba, you have to go to the dentist, and you have to make sure you get your teeth fixed. We always have to do a checkup. You know that. Fine. fine, is what I told her afterwards. And I basically ended up going to school in basically fear. Like, knowing I had to go to the dentist was utterly scary. And I really did not want to go, but at the same time, my parents were going to force me to go either way. So I remember when I was at school, it was during science class, and my teacher ended up coming up to me saying, okay, Bubba, so your parents are going to be here any minute now. So can you pack your stuff and get ready to go downstairs to the front door and meet with your parents? I remember when she said that, I really wanted to lie to her and say that I wasn't, but I'm not going to lie. I can't lie to my science teacher because she was like really hot. That's a story for another time. But anyways, going on, I remember I packed up my bag and got everything ready, and I ended up going downstairs. When I went downstairs, I remember I saw my mom at the front door waiting with my dad, because apparently they were both taking me to the dentist to make sure I actually, like, you know, behaved when I was there. And I remember when I got in the car, my parents were driving down. As my parents were driving down though, my dad ended up getting a phone call from the dentist. I was hoping that they were canceling, but then it was some lady saying, hi, so I know it's Bubba's appointment, but I'm gonna be taking over his appointment today. I want to make sure you guys understood that. So are you guys okay with me doing his checkup? I was hoping my parents were gonna say no. I was like, please say no, please say no. And then my mom says, oh, no problem, we'll go to the checkup and we'll see. Thank you for telling us. Great, thanks, mom. I was kind of upset and annoyed, but at the same time, it is what it is. So I remember I ended up sitting in the car for half an hour thinking that some random lady that I have never met is going to literally, and I mean literally, put something in my mouth and basically check on my teeth. When we got there half an hour later, I remember I sat down at the dentist appointment with my parents. We all sat down together and we basically just waited. And I remember out the door comes a doctor. At first I thought it was just a nurse because she looked really cute and looked way too young to be a dentist. But then she ended up saying, Bubba, can you please come in? You're next up. I remember I looked at her and I ended up looking at my parents, and I stood up and I instantly just started walking up to her. When I walked up to her, I remember I asked her, wait, so are you like my dentist? She says, oh yeah, like I'm gonna be doing your checkup today. Huh? Okay. And just a reminder what this girl looked like. Like, she had like blonde hair, blue eyes, like, and she had major cherries to the point where I don't think her outfit could actually like hold those in. Anyways, going on with the story, I remember I basically went with her to the checkup, and when I got there, I remember I looked at her and I kind of was just like, you know, laying down the seat, doing the whole thing that she needed me to do. I opened my mouth wide and she gave me glasses to wear, and when I wore the glasses, I had to look at a TV screen that was up above. She was playing the television show Treehouse, and I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm not complaining because, you know, it never hurts to watch cartoons. But as I was watching it, the most embarrassing thing ended up happening where, I'm not even gonna lie to you guys, as she was like kind of like putting something in my mouth and I had these sunglasses on, I remember she ended up kind of like going over like my head with her chest to look inside my teeth, kind of from like behind, I guess. And her cherries literally flopped onto my glasses. Like, her cherries literally were right in front of my eyes to the point where I didn't care what was showing on Treehouse. I was watching her. I was watching those enormous cherries, and I'm not gonna lie when I say this, and this was so embarrassing. Reminder, I was wearing sweatpants this day. I literally got bricked. I got bricked up so hard to the point where I remember I looked at her and she looked at my eggplant and she's like, oh, well, someone's excited to have good teeth. Good teeth? Hell nah. I know what I was looking at. I was looking at something that straight up made me bricked. And I remember she made it super awkward with me and like looked at me, and I looked at her, and I straight up told her, hey, like, listen, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, you're hot. My bad. And then she looked at me and started squeezing her chest together, and she's like, oh, it's probably because of these bad boys, isn't it? What? Dude, I didn't believe this was a dentist at this point. I thought this was like Johnny Sins' sister, bro. Like, I didn't know what to think. So I remember I'm just sitting there all like, you know, jittery and excited, thinking this is actually happening right now. And then afterwards, right as I was going on and she was gonna put one final thing in my tooth to me, you know, do a checkup on, my mom ends up walking into the dentist room, seeing what was going on and why it was taking so long. And she's like, is everything okay in here? Does he have good teeth? I remember my dentist looks at me and I look at her, and then we're like, yeah, mom, I have really good teeth, is what I said with her putting something in my mouth. And then she said, yeah, but I'm gonna have to see him again soon because he has like a little cavity in the back of his tooth. You can't really see it, but it's back there. I'm gonna need to see him in a couple days. Wait, what is what I said? I was really confused because, well, I'm not gonna lie, my teeth were priceless. They were perfect. There was no way I actually had a cavity. So I remember my mom ended up leaving the room to go tell my dad, and she looked at me. She's like, you don't actually have a cavity, but I do want to see you again soon. As she's literally putting her hand up my thigh slowly. At this point, I knew that this girl wanted to do the devil's tango with me. Like, there was no way she didn't. So as I'm panicking, thinking, okay, this is like going down for real, you know, as I'm like, you know, about to sing the rap song, it's going down for real. Sorry. I got too excited. But anyways, like I was saying, knowing this was happening was utterly insane. And then I remember I ended up standing up, leaving the doctor's office slowly, and basically went to my parents saying, oh, well, it looks like I have to come back in a couple days. My parents were pretty annoyed because, let's be real here, who wants to do another half an hour drive? But me, I was excited to see my dentist again. But the funny part was, and I remember this so vividly, she ends up literally, as I'm about to leave, run outside outside to literally the place where we parked our car, and she handed me a toothbrush. I didn't know why it took her so long to give me a toothbrush, because usually most dentists give it after the appointment, but she ends up giving it to me straight to my hand saying, hope you have a good time brushing your teeth with this, and ends up walking away. I was really confused at first, and I'm like, okay, well, that just happened. And then afterwards, when I got in the car and I opened the toothbrush, I realized that there was a note inside. The toothbrush was open, but there was something in there, which was a note. I end up taking out the toothbrush, opening the note, and I saw it was her Snapchat. And at this point, I knew that your boy was in, bro. Like, I knew what was going down, okay? So I got super hyped, and I remember I pulled out my phone, I added her on Snapchat, and I basically, like, you know, added her on there. Right when I got back home, I remember I ended up getting an ad back on Snapchat because I didn't end up going back to school. And she snaps me saying, how are those cute pearly whites? As she's still in her, like, dentist uniform, you know, pushing her cherries up. And I'm like, oh, they're good, as I send her a picture. And basically, I remember I ended up hopping on Call of Duty with the boys, telling them my experience at the dentist and how I absolutely loved it. And then for some reason, I got another Snapchat from her, and it was literally her cherries full on out at the dentist office. Bro, are there not cameras at the dentist office, is what I asked her. And she said, no, silly, that's doctor-patient confidentiality. What? I remember I was so in shock, and I was like, okay, bet, so I guess I'm gonna see you in a couple days. And then she said, yeah, I'll be waiting, as she's like holding like this, like, I don't know, it was some form of thing that you put in a mouth to like look inside and like look in like detail at a person's teeth. I don't know what it is, but she stuck it in my mouth basically. And then I remember I ended up telling the boys of that, and they didn't believe me. They had no idea. And I said, watch, next time I go see her and I hit it from the back, I'm literally gonna send you guys a photo. They didn't believe me, and they said there was no way this was gonna happen, but I knew in my mind I was gonna make it happen. So what I ended up doing was I snapped her back and forth, and I kind of, you know, got comfortable talking to her and stuff. And let's just say what ended up happening next was the most insane thing ever. Now, before anything, I do apologize. I don't want to make a part 2. I really don't. But at the same time, I want to make sure that you guys subscribe for this next video. So if you guys do subscribe and comment down below that you guys want to see the next part, I promise you, you guys will get it. And like I always say, fall for more embarrassing stories. Peace out, guys.